If you're a Christian entrepreneur, you better believe there's going to be warfare. And when I say Christian entrepreneur, understand I'm speaking to the person who doesn't just stop at putting a bumper sticker on their car and paying tithes out of their revenue. I'm talking about the person that is bound and determined to leverage what God has entrusted to them for kingdom impact. Coming into today, this was not the podcast that I had planned to post. I actually made it a point to go into the night yesterday doing that last minute recording just for the sake of upholding the commitment to building on this channel consistently, because I know it's important in the bigger view or bigger picture of other things that I have planned and coming up. So I did this whole video and I went back today and I'm like, no, we're burning that. This is where I feel like we need to go. I would say, especially in seeing so many things as recurring themes, especially over the last several months. Coming into today, it's a busy day, so you guys have to pardon me that I'm going to be kind of like ripping through this and may not necessarily be quite as polished or proper or all of those other things. And don't expect me to be super poignant or eloquent. I'll try to speak clearly and succinctly, but I'm also running on way too little sleep because, oh, what do you know? I just couldn't sleep last night. One of the things that I have seen, increasingly so, as I have steadily been pressing in saying, you know, whatever the world says is the definition of success, whatever the world would say chase after, like, I don't want that more than I want God. Like, at the end of the day, at the end of my life, none of that stuff is going to matter. The opinions of the people around me, it's not going to matter. And we know this, right? But I think us shifting into a place of actually living that out takes growth. At least for me, it took growth, right? I didn't grow up churched. I didn't grow up learning all the things. It was a hard knock life, baby. Whatever is what it is. But here, especially, one of the things that I've seen has been the repeated theme of this warfare kicking up. And I mean a lot of it. Things falling apart, breaking, being stolen, you name it. Like, I could go on down the list, but I am not going to sit here and glorify the enemy in all of it. I'm just saying that I am seeing more and more of this bombardment and sense of just overwhelming attacks trying to come from every direction. The locusts that are trying to devour things around me, as I have continued to press in saying, you know what? I want to run my business and leverage what God has placed in my hands for a kingdom impact. I want to use what He has given me to speak life into people, to call out the greatness in people, to build up communities and build up the kingdoms. And you better believe that when you purpose your life around that, around actually prioritizing what God wants to do in and through you and your company, there is going to be a world of challenges that come up against it. Let me pause on speaking that. I pray that it all goes well for you. I pray that you see profits soar and that you see everything line out perfectly. And I really do wish the best. But what I'm saying here is that I see over and over people who step into entrepreneurship with an expectation that can contrast very starkly with the reality. And I would say that especially as a Christian who may not be anticipating the level of warfare or the size of the target that lands on your back when you step into that kind of role. So what ends up happening is I see Christians step into this business. They're so hyped. They're so excited. They know God called them to do it. They know that God has set that purpose, that passion, that thing before them, and they go all in and they're going all out. They're so excited. And then all of a sudden, life starts happening. They run into revenue challenges. They run into staffing challenges. You name it. We could go on and on and on about all the different hurdles and obstacles that we can come up against. But at some point, discouragement tries to set in. And then people start to question, did I really hear God? I don't even know. Can I really sustain this? Can I stick with this? And am I being selfish, or am I possibly putting my family at risk? Am I hurting people around me by holding on to this thing and continuing to press into it? When I had hosted the Christian Leadership Summit back in January, there was so much that kicked up around me. And I mean, it was all kinds of stuff that I'm like, okay, now this too. Like, Oh, and then this also. Oh, great. This is really, really great. But let me tell you that even here months later, I have still been getting reports from people, testimonials from people about the work that God did in them in that space. It was myself and a handful of other amazing Christian entrepreneurs that were speaking at this event to Christian leadership. And I really felt called to do it. And then even as I was bringing it together, it was like there was so much chaos and calamity that started to happen the closer that we got to that date. Stack on top of this other stresses about whether we were going to have enough registrations or things going to work out or all these other things. And I can tell you hands down at every turn, God came through. And I can tell you that hands down, he orchestrated that event in a way I cannot take credit for, in a way that so many people complimented for coming together so smoothly, being so well done, having no hiccups. And I'm telling you, the stories that came out of it, the people that left there charged and ready to run with what he had already been speaking into them, or left with a sense of clarity around things that they had been praying about, or took what they heard home and took the questions back and used it to build up their businesses. I mean, the stories of what he did in the people through that were remarkable. And I say that to you because there are people whose lives you are going to touch and help change in a radical way. Not that you are doing the transformation. Don't worry, honey, that burden isn't on your shoulders. That's on him. But there are ways that he is looking to use you to impact the community around you. And as you are marked like that, as you are marked by the favor of God, as you carry the Spirit of Jesus out into the marketplace, you better believe that there's going to be opposition. What did Jesus say? When the world hates you, take heart, because it hated him first. This is not the world versus you, or you versus the world, or all of these other forces. It's at the core of it. It is a spiritual warfare between light and darkness, between God and the enemy. And that warfare is happening all around you. When you are marked in a way where God is using you and your business to take territory for the kingdom, do not expect that the enemy is just going to lay down and forfeit that territory readily. You can't expect that he is already defeated, and you do get to put him in his place. But I'm saying to you, take heart and be encouraged. If you start seeing calamity break out around you and you're like, God, I just don't get it. Am I missing it? Is it something that I'm doing wrong? Like, yes, take an inventory of what's going on, but recognize too that the enemy wants nothing more than for you to be discouraged and to back down, for you to shrink back, for you to play small, and for you to doubt who it is that God has called you to be. So my challenge for you today is to take all of that into your prayer room. Pray it out in the freaking car, going to and from appointments, wherever it is. But take the time to break away with God. Listen in for more about who he is and the work that he is looking to accomplish. For all the business gurus and coaches online telling you this, that, and the other, and I'll say even the prophets speaking to you online, or the prophets speaking to you online, that when it's a word from God, receive a word from God. But I'm saying be cautious in your filters. Take it before him direct. Lean in and listen to what your Abba Father is looking to speak over you. Lean in for his vision for your business. And when he starts giving you instructions, telling you to shape it this way, go this way, not that, then listen. I have been blown away at the people that I've gotten to connect with and their own stories and testimonies of the crazy things that God told them to do and the wild ways that it paid off. He does not get put into a box. So let him challenge you, let him change you, let him use you, and understand that even as the warfare may kick up around you, and this is, again, y'all forgive me because when I say I'm speaking from being tired here, I am, but prayerfully this is still landing the way it needs to. As God is looking to use you, do not let the enemy win in discouragement. What does that word discourage mean? To take courage I will tell you, training martial arts, doing ring sport, and training for street as well. I can tell you one of the things that we train in fighting is that among the first things that you want to take from your enemy or do to your enemy or your opponent is to take their courage. When we lose our courage, we forget so much of what we've learned. We forget so much of what we trained. So all the scriptures that you took in and you studied to make it part of who you are, and all of the times that God walked you through a season of growth, the enemy wants you to be discouraged and to forget that, because he wants you to forget who you are. Because if you forget who you are, you will stutter, you will second guess, you will pause, you will hesitate, you will shrink back and play smaller. You can have somebody that is among the toughest, most skilled people on the planet that falls into a moment of discouragement and then goes into a cover, just clenching up when they were meant to flourish and when they could easily dominate in that situation. The blood of Jesus that covers over you, what he already did for you, that word has not lost a single bit of its power today, and it never will. We're never going to step into a season where God is down in points or on the scoreboard or down on the battlefield. He has already gone out and secured that victory for you. So I'm praying that you would have the vision to see through the enemy's tactics today. I pray that you would have the clarity to see the schemes that have been set against you, the schemes that he has set against your business, against your family, against everybody that you are intended to impact with the gifts that you have been called to bring. And that as you see those things, you put that foot down and you remind him, not today, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. You are forever victorious. And I pray that you would walk in it today.